Hi there. This video is going to be a tip related to this error message, which usually gives you a hard time when you perform mass inserts or updates, or maybe you have an integration that does pretty much the same thing. In case you haven't figured it out yet, this is the Salesforce standard alert text for duplicate rules. The message can be different as it is configurable by admins, same as validation rule messages, for example. Now, even if you have the duplicate rules set to allow and alert as actions on create and edit, this still fires up during inserts and prevents the action from taking place. Why? Because in the background, a secondary action is required to save the record to the database. With manual inserts, this isn't possible. It might be achievable with integrations, but it's going to take some heavy coding to get it right, which I don't really believe is worth it. But there is a simple trick you can do, so let's jump right in. Now I have a list view to show you that I currently have 4 duplicate leads by email address. I created a simple rule for the purpose of this example. I also have this CSV that contains the minimum validations to insert a lead with the same email address as the existing ones. So in other words, I'm trying to create a duplicate with this. I'm going to quickly go through the process of inserting the lead with Data Loader, which I hope you're familiar with. If not, I have another video about Data Loader which you can check out. As you can see, the insert failed because of the duplicate rule, and there's the standard message that we've been talking about. Now, here's the trick. Step 1. Create a checkbox field on the target object. In my example, it's going to be the lead. I'm going to call it suppress duplicate rules. You don't have to call it the same necessarily, but don't use sloppy names. Try to make the name mean something. I'll leave the default value to unchecked and type a description, which I hope you'll do too. I need this field to be visible only for system admins because I don't believe anybody else should be able to perform these type of actions, and my integration uses a user with a system admin profile. The field doesn't need to be displayed in any layout, but as long as only admins see it, I guess it's safe to display it if you're more comfortable to do so. Step 2. Go back to the duplicate rule that fired and hit edit. There is a section at the bottom of the page which I believe a lot of people tend to ignore. It might not be your case, but if it is, this helps you define the conditions a record must meet in order for the duplicate rule to run. I want to set this duplicate rule to run only for leads that have suppressed duplicate rules set to false. Conditions can be seen here on duplicate rules if you want a quick preview. At this point, we have to go back to our CSV and add the new column and set it to true to prevent the duplicate rule from firing. Now let's try to do the insert again. You'll have to log out and back into Data Loader or you won't see the newly created field. Then I'll go through the steps again, this time mapping the new column in the CSV to the suppressed duplicate rule field. And this time I don't get an error. Back to my list view, refresh, and I have 5 leads instead of 4. However, if you click on the lead, you'll notice that it does not display as a duplicate because the duplicate rules never fired up. And this takes us to step 3, which is create a workflow rule. The rule is going to be on the target object, which is the lead in my example. I'm going to call it the same as the field to keep the process connected somehow, but you can choose any name as long as it means something. The rule should only fire when the record is created, and the criteria is going to be suppress duplicate rules equals true. Next, let's create a field update action. I'll call it suppress duplicate rules uncheck. The field to update is going to be, well, suppress duplicate rules, and the value is going to be false. Done and activate. So what's going on here? Duplicate rules won't fire for records that have the suppress duplicate rules set to true, which will let anybody with access to the field perform a successful insert, but, however, it will not display the record as a duplicate. The workflow rule sets the field value back to false so that the duplicate rule actually fires up after all by the time the record is committed to the database. If you want to know technically how and more about this, you have to get familiarized with the order of execution in Salesforce triggers and processes. And there's a link in the description which you can access and read more about this. I'll go back to leads, delete the record created previously because it doesn't really fit our needs, and attempt to insert again. Back to Salesforce, refresh the page, open the lead, and voila! You'll notice that now the lead is being displayed as a duplicate. So this is pretty much it, and I hope this video will help some of you guys out there. And if you found an even easier solution without coding, then be sure to leave a comment below. And yeah, you could always subscribe if you like. It'll just keep me posting, and I'll see you around.